Welcome to the Forum for Global Studies latest podcast. For today's topic is parliamentary Pakistan elections. Today we have with us a leading authority on Southeast Asia, Mr. Qamar Agha Sahab, whose voice is across the globe, is known for Middle East, Pakistan, Southeast Asia. So we are so privileged and honored to have you, sir, in this podcast program. Now, I would like to ask the first question. Sir, how do you see that the Pakistan army is so decisive in the domestic politics?
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be with you and others, especially in this forum. Pakistani army, is different from other countries' security establishment. Pakistani army consider itself as the guardian of the Islamic Republic or Islamic State, for that matter. The biggest problem with Pakistan, it was established in the name of Islam religion, and the problem is, the ethnic identity is much more stronger than the religious identity. So the Pakistani army tries to connect or tries to reestablish Islamic identity, and in the name of Islam, they assume the role of a protector of the state or guardian of the state. We realized this thing, when Bangladesh was Pakistan was further partitioned and Bangladesh was created. Because then, we saw the end of the two-state theory, which was promoted and by the Muhammad Ali Jinnah and supported even by the Westerners also. A large number of Muslims living in the northern India, they were backing the Muslim League at that time. You see, Bangladesh, the Pakistan movement was very strong in East Bengal and Assam. This was the area where they were very powerful. And yet in 1971, within a span of few years, they separated from Pakistan and established their own because of the ethnic crisis which emerged. Now the same problem is emerging again in Pakistan. The Baloch, the Sindhis, and the Pashtuns in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which earlier we used to know as Northwest Frontier Province, where once Basha Khan used to be the most powerful leader. So these are the people, they never wanted to be part of Pakistan. In fact, Punjab movement was very weak in the beginning. Later, it was picked up in Punjab, West Punjab, which is in Pakistan. Punjab is realized, that they have, this is the biggest province in the future Pakistan, and they were also very powerful within the army establishment, of even before the partition, because they had the Pathan brigade and many others. There were very large number of Punjabis and Pashtuns and others were part of a British India army. So they thought this is the best opportunity. And they, when the Pakistan was partitioned or established, subcontinent was partitioned and Pakistan was established, they did first thing, to colonize the Pashtuns, the Baloch, and the Sindhis, So this is the region which is quite underdeveloped, compared to the Punjab, because that is the largest and biggest beneficiary of the economic assistance which was coming from outside or within the country. And this was the province, which was developed during the British and before that also, because agriculture was main profession, and agriculture, this is the very rich area where number of rivers, which all of them, goes from India to that part. So this area was agriculturally very rich, and even today they they are doing pretty well, compared to other states. So this was the problem, So since the creation of Bangladesh, we saw the Islamization process taking uh, uh, very rapidly in Pakistan, especially when Ziaul Haq came to power. He introduced this process of Islamization, and he then introduced Nizam-e-Mustafa. His concept was that of a religious state, a theocratic state, gradually to create or promote that stuff. He belongs to Deoband um, ideology, he promoted that ideology of Deoband, which is a very conservative extremist ideology. And he got the opportunity to promote these militant organization when Soviet Union occupied Afghanistan. Jihad was launched. Money came from Saudi Arabia. Weapons and trainers came from America and many other countries. These jihadis were trained. At that time they used to call mujahideen, and used to go and fight with the Russians. And ultimately, Russians have to withdraw. Americans saw an opportunity. They thought that if Islam versus communism, if they can convert it into this, then of course, communism would be defeated. And this is what happened in the end. There were other factors also for the disintegration of Soviet Union. This was one of the very major, because large number of Russian troops lost their life, and they have heavy burden on Soviet economy as well. So since then, it continued, but later, the Mujahideen failed, civil war took place. Then again, Pakistanis sponsored yet another militant group, Taliban, and this Taliban captured power. Then Taliban failed, American came because of 9/11, So Pakistan becomes center of militancy, epicenter of terrorism, which the American calls it. Of course, this is what all happened with the help of army. Army was behind it. 71 onwards, Pakistan has also realized, that since they have lost Afghanistan, so they adopted the policy of strategic depth, which means, with the help of these militants, they wanted to promote their interest in oil-rich neighboring Central Asian republics via Afghanistan and other places in Central Asia. And also they want to settle their score with India and sponsor terrorist activities in Jammu and Kashmir state, supported the Khalistani movement in Punjab, and then Jammu and Kashmir, continued, which is continuing since then. So army has been a very important institution and the most powerful institution in Pakistan, and democracy, and they have the support of religious organization, extremist Islamic organization like Jamaat-e-Islami or Jamiatul Ulama Islam, Fazlur Rahman, plus some other Islamic organization belonging to different school of thought, These are the organizations provided legitimacy to army rule or legitimacy to the army actions, whatever they take, they support. These are because the real support to the army used to come from these sections of society. And they were, money was continuously coming to these organization as well, because a large number of madrasas were open. They were from jihadis came from different countries, and then they were trained also. Taliban came out. Talib means student, and Taliban is means students. So these students, they were later used to create. I mean, they were in, part of the Taliban, the movement which emerged. This Taliban or Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Al-Qaeda, and many other organizations were based in Pakistan. Many of the camps they were running for Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, or even Chechens were trained over there. Some African, Nigerian, Boko Haram actually were formed in Pakistan, because the leader of Boko Haram speaks fluent Urdu, because he stayed for a very long time in Pakistan and then went, and after that, he went and established Boko Haram over there. So that's how, the entire politics of Pakistan around Islam, and behind this facade, behind these militancy, is Pakistani army. And Pakistani army treats the elected government. They don't want elected government. In fact, they don't believe in democracy. The problem is, since they have maintained good relation with America, they were the most trusted non-NATO ally of United States. They said they were earlier part of the CENTO, Central Treaty Organization, led by, the Britain, Turkey, Iran, and Pakistan was the member of this grouping that brought Cold War to this region. So it has always been, supporting the Western nation. India, being a member of the non-aligned, leader of the non-aligned, was promoting concept of non-alignment in the developing nation, whereas Pakistan aligned itself with the Western powers. And in return, by serving the American interest in the region, or Western nations' interest in the region, Pakistan was receiving aid, military and economic, both aid were coming to Pakistan. So that is how then Saudi Arabia and other countries were also funding Iran for their own vested interest. Number one, they wanted the Saudi-backed ideologies, should wanted to promote, and secondly, they also wanted to contain growing Iranian influence after the revolution in South Asian region. So this was, different countries have different vested interests, which Pakistan was serving. China was also one of them. Later, China was also brought in Pakistan. So if you look at the Pakistan, you would find all the major decisions or strategic decisions concerning security and stability, apart from these, to the foreign policy, or dealing with the Arabs, dealing with the Americans, all these steps were decided or taken by the military establishment in Pakistan, and mainly the army is the most powerful institution, whereas the other institutions are subservient to military establishment, especially the Nyayapalika, or legislature, or executive, they're all of them are subservient to them. And because most of these institutions, the other institutions of the state, are dominated by the people who subscribe to the ideology of Jamaat-e-Islami or Jamiatul Ulama-e-Islam. Since the time of Ziaul Haq, this was part of the Islamization process, to fill these people in the judiciary or other places, of the institution by these loyalists.
Sir, well pointed out you that Pakistan got entangled in the great game, the superpowers, before 1990s and still till now. And you rightly pointed out the way that it has a long-standing roots, especially the control and the command of the army establishment in the Pakistan. So, sir, how do you think that this time election, which has been discussion all around the world that, especially Imran Khan, we talk about the Imran Khan, and the way he was jailed, and the way his party's candidature was cancelled, and they were fighting, contesting independently, and finally the strong intervention of the military. So how can you define it? Is it selection or is it election?
No, it's basically a selection. This process is going. Even Imran Khan himself was selected by the army. It was the army which has helped him won the election and promoted him to the prime ministership. Supported it was when army decided. It was army which dismissed him also. So it's the army which makes or breaks the government. That this is what the process going on. You see, anybody we have seen in the past, whosoever has challenged the military's superiority in the country, or whosoever has demanded the superiority of the elected government has suffered. Pakistan was punished by the army. First, Ziaul Haq was, first the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. He was become the victim of this establishment, the army, when he talked about establishing a strong civilian rule. General Ziaul Haq staged a coup and he was sent to the jail and later hanged and died. Then his daughter, Benazir Bhutto, she also talked about, promised, to the people that if she is elected prime minister, then she would send the army to the barracks, Then, what was happened, how she was killed while addressing the rally. There are still questions many people are asking how the militant or terrorist enter into that security ring, and why was not he arrested? Was it because that was a clear-cut security line? In fact, many say that person was allowed to come in and kill him. Then thirdly, Nawaz Sharif Saab has also questioned some of the army's stance, because he wanted to, and he had tough time with General Pervez Musharraf, and then later he was thrown out. He was arrested, went to the jail, dismissed, arrested, and sent to the jail. Since he had a good relation with, at that time, with the King Abdullah, he rescued him, So he went to England, for treatment. First, he went to Saudi Arabia, from there to London for treatment, and he stayed there for 4 years, and later brought back. They have compromised because they don't have any other leader except him. He was accepted because he has very close ties with the religious establishment. He himself was brought into politics by General Ziaul Haq, and he himself was part of the Jamaat Islami. His family is part of the Tabligh Jamaat, or they have very close ties with the Jamatul Ulama Islam, Fazal, and other extremist organization in Pakistan. His brother Shahbaz Sharif had been funding these organizations from the Punjabi state budget, to Jamatul Dawa and some other frontal organizations of Lashkar-e-Taiba. So that's how, he was pardoned and brought back to politics, because he has patched up, that he won't say anything against the government. And now army wants him to take over as the prime minister. They are helping him. And now Imran has done the maximum damage, because earlier, people were suspicious of army because they used to think that army is not doing enough. And they had many questions they were asking from the army. And then realize it, that this army cannot deliver. But Imran is the one person, who convinced them this army is corrupt, inefficient, cannot protect you. It is doing only the political work. It cannot fight with Pakistan's enemy in case there is a war, because they are not capable of fighting with India, and the most corrupt institution in Pakistan. Secondly, he also talk about other things, like independent foreign policy. He said that if he'll come back to power, or when he was in power, he said that I want more authority. He wanted more power, and so that decision would be taken by the elected government. He wanted the superiority of the elected government or more democracy. And he even said that India has progressed so much because of they follow the democratic rule, law of nation, rule of law. So these were the things, that was generally liked by the people, and large number of people when he was arrested or during his period also when he was dismissed or arrested, in between also, large number of people came out in support. He's emerged a very powerful a leader in Pakistan. I think after Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, he's the second most popular leader at the moment, cutting across the Pan Punjab, all the provinces of Punjab, all the four, even in Kashmir also he tries to make some dent over there through elections. Of course, elections are generally rigged in Jammu and Kashmir. Is an old tradition, continuing even today. But his popularity, secondly, he his campaign was, in the sense, was a bit secular. He never raised the religion, bogey of religion. He never talked about other things. We were dealing with very closely with the traditional allies. Said yes, we will continue. He said, but he also talked about having trade with Russia, or better relation with Russia, apart from China. That was not liked by the Americans. And then he was very critical of Americans. He said that if I'll come back to power, I'll not take dictate from anybody. Will work in the national interest. So, secondly, in his campaign, large number of women have also come forward and supported him. So he became a very popular force at the moment to reckon with. This is not liked by the army, because the army realized that he poses potential threat even now and even in future also. So number of cases was filed against him. He's from corruption to even they have questioned his marriage. Legal status of the marriage was also questioned. So many cases, almost 200 he is facing 200 cases, and he's now at the moment, he has to spend jail for almost 24 years, and there are more cases to come in. Case of treason is also against him. In that case, he would be hanged. I don't know what would happen to him. Because such a popular leader, there'll be chaos in Pakistan if he is hanged. So that's why I hope they will not hang him. So in the recent election, this last election, we have seen how he was not allowed to contest. Then his party symbol bat was taken away by the election commission. So much so, the people were contesting election. The supporters were contesting election independently, but they were not allowed to even print posters with his photograph or use colors of his party flag. So, so much so, and they were not even allowed to hold public rallies. A very quiet campaign went into effect, especially conducted by youth. They came forward, and in fact, he emerged as the single largest party. And those who have elected by the state, they are now renouncing their election. They are saying that we lost elections, but the election commission declared as winner. There are a number of such cases who are coming into the public and telling them, and their videos are circulating. These are elected candidates. They are saying that we will not go to this parliament, So, army is in big crisis. Pakistan is in big crisis. Pakistan needed a strong, uh, independent leader, a charismatic leader. Khan was emerging because this is the time when Pakistan is facing serious economic and political challenges. Economy is on the verge of collapse. Political instability is growing, continues to grow. The most popular leader is in jail, and its party is virtually suppressed by the security establishment. And so this is a very most difficult time. I don't know how are they going to manage because in next couple of months or within 3 to 4 months, they have to pay $24 billion debt. And secondly, they have only $12 billion in the treasury as a reserve money that it would last hardly 3 months. And now they have to go in negotiation for next round of bail package from IMF. I don't know whether they're going to get or not because after this election, because the human rights organization in America and Europe and everywhere have dubbed this as a rigged election. So I don't know how the Americans will behave in time to come.
So well pointed out, sir. No, you have explained the deep-rooted structural problem of Pakistan. And Pakistan, as you well pointed out, Pakistan needs a charismatic, popular leader, and of course, Imran Khan is. But the way our army has pulled down, and so many, we have seen the kind of selection process is going on there, and the candidates have been abducted. So, how do you think, sir, that will Pakistan create a new history or repeat?
It is very difficult to predict anything. Anything can happen there, And I know one thing, the movement of this nature cannot be suppressed by any army. It is very difficult thing because it has become a people's movement. It's an uprising against the existing uh, establishment. It's a fight between the Naya Pakistan and the old Pakistan. Yeah. So this then secondly there are undercurrents that separatist movements are already gaining ground in especially in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, these two areas. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, large number of areas, large, big chunk of area, is not controlled by the army, where the rate is of the militants are prevailing. So that is the situation, and if economic crisis further worsen, there are in such situation we have seen in many countries anti-social elements came into front or they start looting or burning or this sort of incidents taking place. Pakistan has a lot of weapon, and these militant groups, they have anti-Pakistan militant groups have lots of weapon they have acquired. They have good ties with Taliban across the border, and from there the regular supply of weapons are coming, and these weapons are very sophisticated, much better, much uh, than the army or the police is having in Pakistan. That's why they managed to attack every second day. You would find either the police post is being attacked or the military, some of the military installations is what going on. So if this situation continues some more time, then no foreign investment will come to Pakistan. Already people are reluctant to come because the currency is weak, inflation is high, unemployment is growing, and then on top of that, the political instability is there. Militant groups are roaming around freely. Who would like to invest in such a situation or such a country, you know. So foreign investment is ruled out. Secondly, the other countries are also, you know, the traditional Arab ally, they are also not very happy. Saudi Arabia and UAE have mentioned once, you know, okay, that Pakistan is addicted to debt. Every time they come and beg for the money, you know, how long they continue to support. And otherwise, also, they're not happy because Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman or King Salman, both, you know, when asked Pakistan to send troops to fight war with Yemen, Pakistan refused to do that. So the trust deficit is also there between them, between the Arabs and these things. So further economic deterioration means major emergence of a major crisis in the country. Situation is as bad even if Imran Khan comes back to the power, he cannot solve these problems easily because it takes time, patience. Yes, charismatic leader can hold them, can explain them. They listen to him, would listen, but to army, which is have been dubbed as a or an institution which cannot deliver. This is what the people lost faith in army, increasingly. Then political parties, PMLN or PPP, they have also lost considerable support. There are reports which suggest Mia Nawaz Sharif has lost both the seats. He was contesting from 2 seats. In fact, he lost both the seats, but in the end, army managed to make him to win 1 seat. So that is the situation, you know. And in such a even Nawaz Sharif thinks, you know, he can manage the situation. This is what he is promising. He's promising big thing, promising jobs. He's promising to build new infrastructure, improve. He promised to bring, but who would fund these things? The state doesn't have fund and outside people. I hope. I mean, I don't know how the IMF behave in future. Yes, if Pakistan promises to promote American interests in the region or shelf China, maintain distance, or at least, you know, accommodate main demands of the Pakistan or main interests of the United States in the region. In that case, China will not be happy. So it's a state of fix, you know, they don't know where to go, you know, and without the American support, IMF will not bail the Pakistan out, and if they don't get IMF loan, then other countries will also feel twice to fund Pakistan. So that is a very grim situation or scenario emerging from out of Pakistan. And we have seen in such situations, chaos and anarchy takes place. I don't know it's going to take place in Pakistan because the people don't want. So that is the only strength, you know, they find. But how long they will continue to do? I mean, what will happen? You know, the separatist movement will further strengthen in these areas.
Yes, sir, you are right, sir. That time is. I think it's a very it's very difficult to predict the navigation and the trajectory of Pakistan politics in further future. But yes, the kind of insights you have given today is very important for all of us to understand. But I think, sir, last 2 3 days we have seen the kind of people's protest against the army. The first time they have exposed the army's interference. So I think that this is the something the beginning, the kind of courage and the conviction they are showing.
I told earlier also, you know, army has lost its credibility and people have lost trust in army. And now the people have come to realize that the biggest culprit is army. So now the main struggle is against the forces. This is what the Imran's movement is. And Imran is the winner in this election, if you look at it, you know.
Yes.
But the problem is army will not allow him or install him as a prime minister, because if he becomes a prime minister, he could manage affairs for some time, not indefinitely, but for some time, in the meantime, he could manage to get some loans or some help from other countries, if he establishes peace. But that's a very difficult task. I don't know, it is difficult to predict which way Pakistan will go. But one thing is certain: if this process continues, it would lead to uh, chaos. And second thing, chaos and anarchy. Army, I don't think is going to give up. Once they have tested power, any army, then they don't leave power. They are there. Be very difficult. Yes, of course, in case if China, America, all the countries pressurize, even then would be difficult, for army to surrender to the uh, elected government, and go back to the barracks, In that case, army would split. There'll be a split in the army. Some would accept, others will not accept this type of behavior. Let's wait and see some more time.
That today's deliberations are going to be very, very significant for policymakers, especially for those who are very aspiring to the dynamics of Pakistan politics. So thank you so much once again, sir, for joining us. Thanks.